When you hear the word forest, you might think of a vacation you once took to the North Woods, or maybe a fall drive on a country road, or maybe your favorite tree. Some people probably wonder, why should information about Wisconsin's forests be taught in the classroom? The answer is simple. Forests are a basic human life support system. Forests affect the quality of our air, water, and land. They provide jobs and products. Their beauty and recreation potential add much to our physical and mental well-being. Understanding forests is key to sustaining them. Historically, forests played a part in supporting human life. For Wisconsin's Native Americans, forests were more than just a place to live. Forests provided food, water, shelter, and a livelihood. Early European settlers derived the same benefits from forests: food, building materials, and a source of income. As Wisconsin entered statehood, forests played a primary role in meeting the needs of an expanding population. A growing lumber industry provided building materials, jobs for an increasing immigrant workforce, and dollars for a fledgling state economy. Historically, humans impacted forests in a variety of ways. Native Americans managed forests to ensure food supplies. Using fire, they changed forest communities to younger stages to attract wild game. They introduced and cultivated some plant species not native to Wisconsin. Some native plants were over-harvested and eliminated from local areas. Early European settlers considered forests an obstacle to farming. In southern Wisconsin, the plow turned over the prairie and oak savannas to create fertile farm fields. The large oaks from these oak savannas of southern Wisconsin were cut for building materials. Settlers eliminated fire from the oak savanna landscape. Land too rough to farm grew up with brush and trees that fire had historically suppressed. The logging era that followed statehood was characterized by the removal of large expanses of forest, section by section, until the forests of the North were virtually eliminated. With the removal of the forests came drastic changes in the environment. Soils eroded, wildfires raged, and surface waters ran brown. Local climate changed as bare lands absorbed heat, and the trees that had transpired moisture were gone. As forests disappeared, local communities were affected by the loss of industry and jobs. In some cases, those communities became ghost towns overnight. In others, tourism and different endeavors maintained the local economy. The land that was now vacant of trees became the next commodity. Lumber companies had taxes to pay on a landscape that wouldn't produce lumber for another 100 years. As a result, they liquidated their land holdings. The time was right for farming, as thousands of immigrants were flocking to Wisconsin to start a new life, a life on land of their own. The dreams and the life savings of many immigrants were soon lost. If the stumps and rocks weren't enough, the climate and infertile soils did little to produce more than a marginal crop. Soon many farmers abandoned the land, and tax-delinquent lands became property of the county. Although much debate surrounded the topic at the time, it became evident that these lands were best suited to grow trees. The state, counties, and federal government soon entered the forest business. Nurseries were started to aid in reforestation. Some farmers, barely surviving on marginal lands, were moved to better lands. Public lands were established and replanted with trees. In 1933, in the midst of a Great Depression, a new program called the Civilian Conservation Corps put America back to work. Thousands of young men worked to replant forests and fight forest fires. Thanks to the efforts of countless individuals, agencies, and organizations, our forests have grown back to the forests we know today. Over time, our understanding of the role forests play as basic human life support systems became more complete.
The forest is a very complex ecosystem, but we've learned a lot about it in the last 20 years. For example, we know that the species that make up the forest are very important to all the functions that occur here. Among those many functions include the carbon sequestration. The carbon dioxide from the air is replaced by oxygen, which is important for all higher organisms. We also know that the forest contributes to many other things, including the aesthetics, watershed protection, soil development, and also it provides habitat for many of the native species, including some of the important wildlife species of the world.
Forests support the economy too. In 2004, Wisconsin forest products accounted for a $28 billion industry. 1 out of every 6 jobs was a forest-related job. That's 157,000 people earning over $5.8 billion. Forest-related recreation and tourism continues to grow. In 2004, Wisconsin forest-based tourism pumped $6.8 billion into Wisconsin's economy. We've also learned that forests have sociological benefits. Forest recreation helps people unwind from the stresses of everyday life. Some forest recreation activities, like deer hunting, are deeply rooted in family traditions. The beauty and aesthetics of forests add much to our daily lives. Managing forests for multiple benefits is a challenge.
Public land management is very challenging, particularly with the increasing public demands placed upon the forest. For instance, here at the 9 Mile County Forest Recreation Area, we have to balance timber management along with the multiple benefits in recreation, which include mountain biking, hiking, snowmobiling, cross-country skiing, hunting, and berry picking.
The global exchange of people and goods has brought new insects, new tree diseases, and exotic invasive species to our forests. The compositions of our forests have and will continue to change as these new aliens kill or outcompete native forest species. Forested land continues to increase in price as people buy forest lands for recreation, home building sites, or investment. Land ownership changes have created smaller parcels of forest land, affecting the ability of the forest to be managed as a larger ecosystem. From 2000 to 2004, 3,000 new parcels of land were carved out of Wisconsin's forests and sold to new landowners each year.
These woodlands are being broken up, parcelized, sold into smaller and smaller pieces for people who have an interest in owning these woodlands for recreational opportunities. They receive a great deal of enjoyment from just looking at big trees, hunting opportunities, or bird watching. We've gone from a situation where one woodland owner maybe owned 50 or 60 acres on average, now to a point today where we have one woodland owner owning 25 or 30 acres.
Urban sprawl continues to fragment our forests as land is permanently changed from forest to human habitation. Global demand for forest products continues to increase at a rate faster than population growth. In 2004, the world population was annually increasing by 1.1%, but world consumption of wood was increasing by 1.7%. Wood and wood products are being shipped to and from all corners of the globe. An urgent question is, how will climate change affect the health and sustainability of forests? Our continued use of fossil fuels appears to be increasing the rate of climate change. Based on climate change models, the composition of our forests over the next 50 to 100 years may change greatly. Our past land use has created conditions that have also encouraged changes in forest composition.
One of the problems that we have encountered in the last few years is the fact that because of the fragmentation of our forest, we've created opportunities for species that are now becoming a problem that otherwise were not. One example is the white-tailed deer, a native species which at one time was a rather uncommon species in our forest, but which has become so overabundant throughout most of the deciduous forest in the United States that it is now contributing to the decline of some of our native species. We also have contributed to the introduction of many species which are becoming invasive, things like garlic mustard and buckthorn, for example, that are also contributing to the decline of native species in our forest. So in addition to protecting our forest from the standpoint of management, we now have an added management challenge, and that is controlling species that have simply become too overabundant or exotic species that are now invading our forest.
At no time since the aftermath of the lumber era have our forests been faced with such challenges. Given these new challenges and the mixed value system that our citizens place on forests, meeting all of our current and future needs will require collaborative efforts in both forestry education and forest management. Sustainability has become a new focus for the management of our forests. Sustainable forest management is evolving each day as more forest professionals, owners, and users are brought on board, and our knowledge of forest ecology, forest economics, and forest social values increase. Today, sustainable forestry uses research and management to ensure that forests will continue to provide ecological, economic, and social benefits for present and future generations. For sustainable forest management to succeed, it will take the support of Wisconsin's citizens.
Public support is really critical for sustainable forestry to succeed in Wisconsin. Our quality of life depends on forests in so many ways. When we learn more about our forests and what they provide to us, we can make better informed decisions about what products to consume, what to teach our kids, what public policies to support, and how to provide stewardship to our own private and public lands.
Decision-making starts with understanding one's role. Individuals should play a key role in sustaining these basic life support systems. As informed citizens, we have a responsibility to voice our opinions, vote, lead healthy lifestyles, and help guide our future. So why should we teach about Wisconsin's forests in the classroom?
A wise man once said, "In the end, we will sustain only what we love, we will love only what we understand, and we will understand only what we are taught."
The future of Wisconsin's forests and their ability to sustain human life is in the hands of students, their families, and their communities.